Hey, what's up, everyone? Nick Yuskevich here with Daily Fantasy Winners. It is week 10 of the NFL season, so for this video, it's just going to be the usual of one a player, two at each position for GPPs, where I'll take a look at quarterback, running back, wide receiver, tight end, and defense, of course. And so, in any case, let's just get right on into it. For quarterback, I like Tom Brady this week, and so this would be for FanDuel only because this is the Sunday night game. But I know that a lot of people might take a look at this and say, well, it's the Broncos defense. They're very good. I'm not sure if I really want to do that in GPPs from an upside standpoint, but it's the Sunday night game and everything like that. And it's at Denver, but the thing of the matter is, if you do take a look at Denver here, their past defense has been kind of regressing a little. I don't know actually when he's the term regressing. It's just been getting worse a little bit here over the last few weeks. They're fourth overall, second against the run, but they've dropped now down to 11th here after their last few performances. And obviously Philly certainly had a good reason for that last week, carving them up there for 51 points. Carson Wentz has been absolutely fantastic this year. But the one thing specifically I do like here, and I'm pretty sure I've pointed this out before, but I will do it here again just in case. If we do take a look at Denver, they are fourth. Oops, actually, you can't see that probably. Denver Broncos, they are fourth. The Denver Broncos defense has allowed the fourth most fantasy points, or excuse me, the fourth least. They're ranked fourth, the fourth least amount of fantasy points to wide receivers this year game, but they've actually been second to last, 31st to tight end. And if you've watched Denver the last couple of weeks, especially the Monday night game against Kansas City, which was not last weekend but 2 weekends ago, Travis Kelce just absolutely carved up the Broncos defense in that game. And then even last week going up against Philly, obviously I don't know if I said on here or I said on Twitter or something, I said I really like Zach Ertz this week for obvious reasons. He's one of the best tight ends, but it was kind of for this reason. And he didn't end up playing. But then as we saw, even without him, Brett Selleck and Trey Burton, it was, I believe. Was it Trey Burton? Yeah, Trey Burton. They combined for, they had 8 targets combined. They caught five of those 8 targets for 90 yards and then a touchdown for Trey Burton, of course, which was that play near the goal line, down near the pylon, and seeing if he held on to the ball, but they gave it to him. So in any case, the tight end still did very well against Denver last week. And so this is a spot where I actually think the Patriots with Tom Brady, who will obviously, I think, be going to Rob Gronkowski a lot this game, the Broncos really just haven't been that great against the pass to running backs or tight ends this year. They've been pretty good against wide receivers, obviously, but even there, they've just been kind of getting worse over the last couple of weeks. And honestly, it's funny. You take a look at this line and you see it's New England by 7.5. And honestly, if it was only this game was played a month ago and game was at Denver, this line would probably be like New England by 3 or something like that. I don't think it would be any more than that, maybe 3.5 or so. But really, where I think a lot of the people are seeing why, whoa, I really have an issue with that. Sorry about that. Anyways. The one thing I really think some of the sharp bettors are looking at with Denver in particular is that it was a big mistake to go away from Trevor Siemian right now to Brock Osweiler. I don't think there are many people out there at all really buying into Brock Osweiler, at least right now. And so I think Trevor Siemian is much better than him. I just think it was an egregious mistake, and I think that is a pretty big drop-off, at least a few points worth a drop-off in a point spread. And I think it was an overreactionary move because the Broncos' offense was actually moving the ball fine. Their defense was playing well, even during that losing streak. The one problem was just that the fact that Trevor Siemian was throwing interceptions, and a few of those weren't even his fault. Emmanuel Sanders, I wasn't even playing in a couple of those games. They don't really seem to have much wide receiver depth behind Emmanuel Sanders, and so I know interceptions are part of the equation. That's on Siemian to some extent, but I just thought you see a losing streak over 3 games where the Broncos actually outgained every one of those teams in their losing streak, like not including Philly last week when Trevor wasn't playing, but before that, Denver outgained their opponents. And so I just thought it was an overreactionary move, and I just think they made themselves worse by playing Brock, and I think that's partially built into why this point spread is 7.5. So in any case, I liked Brady a lot this week. I would definitely roll him out. And so in any case, go with that. For the people that are only playing on DraftKings, I will just say I like Ben Roethlisberger this week. The Indianapolis Colts, just show this to you quickly. I'm pretty sure I've shown this to you guys as well before. Colts dead last against the pass this year. They are dead 32nd, 7.9 yards per pass attempt allowed. And Vontae Davis, just earlier today, I believe it was, maybe it was yesterday, but I think it was today, Vontae Davis ruled out for the game on Sunday, so he's their best corner, if you, for whatever reason, did not know that. And so, do you like Ben Roethlisberger? Touchdowns are coming. Steelers are more of a balanced offense than you might think. And so, in any case, let's move on to running back here with the Los Angeles Chargers, because I like Melvin Gordon this week. And so the Chargers are averaging 4 yards, just 4 yards a carry this year, which isn't great, but and that's about what Melvin Gordon's averaging on the year, which is just, it's okay. It's not great. But the one thing I will show you is playing against Jacksonville. Jacksonville, who has the #1 defense in the NFL, they are actually 31st against the run, and they were dead last week until they ran into the worst rushing offense in the Cincinnati Bengals, who had one of the worst game plans I have seen from how you're going to attack the Bengals defense. I just thought it was ridiculous. The Bengals, you beat Jacksonville by getting your tight ends involved in running the football a lot of the time, and just I'm using very basic stuff here. It's just to basically say that, like, they defend the wide receivers extremely well. Their corners and their safeties are phenomenal, but the couple places that people have had success moving the ball against Jacksonville is on the ground and getting the tight ends involved in the passing game. The Bengals can't really run it. They just have no offensive line. I think Pro Football Focus rated the Bengals, or at least somebody there rated the Bengals as the worst offensive line coming into the year. That's probably still true, or it's at least one of the worst. And so they really should have gone to Tyler Kroft a lot, especially after A.J. Green got tossed. They only went to him twice, and he caught both passes, and the first one was like for 59 yards. So I'm just shocked they didn't try and get Kroft involved more. But okay, sorry, that's a little bit of a tangent. The Chargers, while still not being the greatest coaching staff, I don't think either, from at least more of a clock management standpoint, they are going to get the ball to Melvin Gordon a lot. Melvin Gordon is 10th in carries this year, if I remember correctly. Yeah, he's getting 16.4 carries per game, which is 10th in the NFL. That's obviously a very good number. And the Chargers actually throw to Melvin Gordon, as you probably know quite a bit. 5.6 targets a game. He's been really successful in the passing game. He's had touchdowns this year, and everything like that. Melvin Gordon's had monster games. Been one of the top running backs in a few weeks here this season. And so Melvin Gordon, definitely like this week. I think it's a great spot to go against the Jaguars team that really wants you to run, that really that does not stop the run very well. And the one thing I will throw in also is that the line, it opened Jacksonville by 5. It's moved down to Jacksonville by 3.5, which I think is the right move. I know I said that last week, but I was just so stunned about how bad the Bengals game plan was, and I was not expecting A.J. Green to get tossed either. So, but anyways, I think 3.5, that's a good number here for this game. And so I do think Melvin Gordon, the Chargers, will be running it a fair amount. Okay, anyways, on to wide receivers. Sterling Shepard had a great game last week. Didn't get into the end zone, so it wasn't like a monster game. But he was targeted 9 times, caught 5 or 6 balls for like 60, 70 yards, somewhere in there. It was a very good game, or a very solid game for his price. But I shouldn't say it's a very good game. He can definitely do better than that, though, if he gets into the end zone. And obviously, the Giants have a very favorable matchup going against the San Francisco 49ers this week, who have the most banged-up team in the National Football League. I know some fans of certain teams want to contest that. The Packers may have an argument to that, actually, to be fair to them. But the 49ers are missing like over half their starters right now. They are just it's absurd how beat up they are, and so particularly on defense. They don't have George Kittle this week or Pierre Garçon, so actually it's probably both sides of the ball. Anyways, bottom line, San Francisco's defense, not very good. 23rd overall, 24th against the pass, and it's honestly worse than that at this point because of all the injuries they've got. So Sterling Shepard, very affordable price for a team that basically cannot run the football. They're definitely having to throw it to have any success, and Shepard's their #1 option. Him and Evan Ingram, 1A and 1B, whatever you want to call it. And so anyways, Shepard's good. The other guy I want to mention is Golden Tate. Obviously, it was a very good sign that Golden Tate came back Monday night with 9 catches for like 110, 115 yards, something like that. So against the Packers on Monday night. So didn't get into the end zone, but still was an awesome game for Golden. So I do like him here this week. And if you don't know this about the Browns, I seem to bring them up a little bit frequently here in these videos for some reason, but they have the Browns have the #8 defense right now in yards per play allowed, 21st against the pass. They are #1 against the run, averaging 2.9 yards a carry allowed, and that is a half a yard better than the next team, which is Denver. 2.9 yards per carry allowed is extremely good. It's really, really good. That's amazing for a team that hasn't won a football game yet. And we're sitting here in November going into week 10. That's like almost impossible. So the Browns should have won a couple games by now. They haven't, whatever. But I'll just say this. The Lions are a team that is better at throwing the football than they are running it. They are, just to show you, they are... Where the heck is it? They're the Detroit Lions. They are 30th in yards per rush attempt, and they're 17th in yards per pass attempt. And that number should get better for Detroit. That's 17th. And so, in any case, because they'll have some more help, in the health department of their wide receivers, like Golden Tate. T.J. Jones was out for a little bit. I think it was T.J. Jones, or no, it was. The other guy, you know who I'm talking about, the other younger guy. I'm drawing a blank, sorry. In any case, anyways, the Lions pass game looking very good right now for this matchup against Cleveland. They're a big favorite, but I do think that means they are going to still throw it quite a bit because of this specific matchup, like I showed with the Browns defense. All right, in any case, moving on to tight end. I have three guys here, actually, I want to mention here. Rob Gronkowski, that's very simple, as I kind of explained with Tom Brady on why I like him this week. Gronk, very good matchup with tight ends against Denver. The second guy I'll mention is Delaney Walker. Somehow Delaney Walker still hasn't caught a touchdown this year. I'm just going to say that has to change sooner or later, and I'm going to hope and guess it's this week because that's who I'm recommending. He's only 5,500 on FanDuel. I believe on DraftKings he is very affordable as well. It's 5,000 on DraftKings, so I mean, yeah, it's about for the price diff and how the salary structures work, he's probably actually slightly better on FanDuel. But in any case, I think he's fine on both sites. I will say just make sure Delaney Walker is playing on Sunday because he does still have the questionable tag, of course. But in any case, they're going up against Cincinnati as a favorite. Cincinnati does have a pretty good defense, but I do think that the Bengals are kind of not the same, not as strictly the same as not to the same extent as the Broncos, but the Bengals are better against the wide receivers than they are against the tight ends, I do believe, in the pass coverage department. And so I do like Delaney for that reason. And then the last guy I'll mention here for tight ends, and this is someone that I just think was going to get extremely low ownership just because their offense has now gone from great to terrible, and I'm referring to the Texans here, is C.J. Fedorowicz. He was knocked out week 1 with a concussion, and he is, if for whatever reason, if somehow you don't know this, C.J. Fedorowicz is the number 1 tight end on the Houston Texans. He was last year. He's been I'll just say a solid tight end, for the most part from a fantasy standpoint normally. And so he was knocked out week 1 with a concussion, went on the IR to return list. He comes back this week. Make sure he is going to play this weekend, of course, and he's going to start and all that. But assuming he does, he's extremely cheap. He is only 4,600 on FanDuel, and he is, that is not how you spell Fedorowicz, he is 3,400 on DraftKings. So very affordable on both sides, obviously. And I know I was really excited to have him be playing with Deshaun Watson because I would have been recommending him through the roof, like probably for the next couple of weeks at least. But unfortunately, it's not the case. But still, it's extremely affordable. And Fedorowicz is a guy tight end that should be at least 5,500 on FanDuel and into the 4K range on DraftKings at least, maybe even a little bit more than that. I know it's Tom Savage, but honestly, Savage right now, he does not throw a good deep ball. He needs to throw the shorter, safer stuff, which is more kind of like the Fedorowicz area who's going to be catching, I see Fedorowicz kind of in that range of that 5-6 catches, maybe 7 or 8 if we're really lucky, and then, getting like 50, 60 yards out of it and hopefully a touchdown. And so it's kind of one of those things that I think is going to slide under the radar. He's only going to have like 1% ownership probably or something like that. So, and then lastly for defense, there's some better defenses in this projection wise probably, but I really do like the Steelers defense this week. The Steelers have forced I don't want to say forced. They've had the fourth. Defensively, they have earned the 4th most sacks, and then the Colts have allowed the most sacks this year. So it's a fantastic sacks matchup for the Steelers. They are a 7.5 point favorite, I believe. Let me double check that. Oh, it's all the way up to 10. Oh my goodness, I didn't see that today. Okay, so the Steelers are up to a 10-point favorite. So I'm sure they'll get some attention by people, but there are enough really good defensive plays this week that I don't think their ownership will still be too out of control. I'm sure people will load up on the Rams defense with that point spread. I'm sure some people will still buy in with like the Lions or something because they're just at home going against the Browns, and I'm sure there'll be some other people, there are a couple other defenses out there. The Jaguars, obviously, I'm sure a lot of people play them. And so, in any case, I don't think their ownership will be too bad. So it's obviously a fantastic sacks matchup. And so, In any case, that's the only thing that really worries me about Pittsburgh this week, I guess, is for whatever reason, when they play in the first wave of games on Sunday on the road against weak competition, they do tend to very frequently play flat, and that could be the offense or the defense, or it could just be like it's weird things to happen. Like the Steelers played at the Bears, and when everybody was in love with Pittsburgh, and they lost to the Bears in overtime. And I don't know, like this does seem to happen pretty frequently with Pittsburgh, but I think it's probably more variance than anything, and I wouldn't worry too much about it. And so they'll get some sacks. They'll probably get a couple turnovers and everything like that. So, all right, in any case, I rambled enough. Thanks for watching this. Hopefully you're getting some winners out there. We're into the second half of the season. It's going a little bit too quickly, unfortunately, but in any case, thank you again. Please remember to like and subscribe to the videos here with our YouTube channel. I'm at Nick Yuskevich on Twitter, and Daily Fantasy Winners is on Twitter at DFantasyWinners. All right, good luck, everyone.